SilverHawks, partly metal, partly real. In 1986, Rankin Bass launched their space-age follow-up to Thundercats, cyborg heroes with wings, laser eyes, and a mission to protect the Limbo galaxy from Mon Star and his criminal mob. Quicksilver, Bluegrass, Steelheart, Steelwill, and the Copper Kid flew into Saturday morning TV with style and spectacle. Today, we're diving into 10 wild facts about SilverHawks that most fans never knew, from its direct connection to Thundercats to the bizarre astronomy lessons and villains inspired by mythology. Before we launch into hyperspace, subscribe to Pure Nostalgia and hit that notification bell so you never miss our next mission into 80s and 90s cartoon greatness. Fact 1. Created as Thundercats in space. SilverHawks was literally designed as a space version of Thundercats. Rankin and Bass saw the massive success of their cat people heroes and wanted to repeat the formula. Animal-themed good guys versus monstrous villains, transforming vehicles, and epic fantasy battles, but set in outer space instead of a fantasy planet. The similarities are everywhere. Quicksilver mirrors Lion-O as the noble leader. Mon Star transforms into a giant monster like Mum-Ra, and both shows have a young sidekick learning lessons. Copper Kid parallels Wily Kit or Wily Cat. Even the animation style and voice acting feel like direct continuations of the Thundercats formula. This spiritual sequel approach worked well enough to get 65 episodes, but SilverHawks never quite matched its predecessor's cultural impact. Still, for 80s kids who loved both shows, it felt like the perfect cosmic companion piece to the planet-based Thundercats adventures. Fact 2. The SilverHawks are cyborgs, not robots. The theme song says it perfectly, partly metal, partly real. Every SilverHawk is a human or humanoid who volunteered for cybernetic reconstruction after near-death experiences. Commander Stargazer recruits them one by one, rebuilding their bodies with metal wings, laser eyes, enhanced strength, and flight capabilities. Quicksilver got his upgrades after a space accident, Bluegrass after a fighter jet crash, Steelheart and Steelwill after a shuttle explosion. Even their ship, the Mirage, is a mobile base that transforms into a giant robot. This cyborg concept made them more relatable than pure robots, while still delivering awesome sci-fi visuals. The part human, part machine angle gave the show emotional stakes. These weren't emotionless androids. They were people who sacrificed their bodies to protect the galaxy. It was a smart twist that set SilverHawks apart from more robotic competitors. Fact 3. Every episode ended with astronomy lessons. At the end of every single episode, Bluegrass would quiz the Copper Kid on astronomy facts. What's the largest planet in our solar system? Jupiter. Correct. These educational segments were mandatory, teaching kids about planets, stars, and space science while the credits rolled. This wasn't random. Syndicated cartoons in the 80s often included pro-social content to satisfy broadcasters and parent groups. SilverHawks leaned into its space theme, turning Bluegrass, the country-singing pilot, into an unlikely science teacher for the mathematically gifted Copper Kid. For many fans, these astronomy quizzes became as memorable as the action. They created a unique rhythm to the show. Epic space battles followed by chill space facts, making SilverHawks feel both thrilling and smart. Fact 4. Mon Star transforms using a Moon-Star. The main villain, Mon Star, isn't just evil, he's powered by a mystical Moon-Star pendant that lets him transform into giant, monstrous forms. Touching the Moon-Star turns him into a massive, shape-shifting creature with claws, wings, and devastating powers. This transformation mechanic made Mon Star more visually dynamic than typical cartoon villains. One episode he might become a flying serpent, the next a hulking brute, then a multi-headed beast. It gave animators endless variety and made every Mon Star appearance feel like a boss battle. The Moon-Star also created clever plot points, heroes trying to steal it, Mon Star losing control of his transformations, or mob members accidentally triggering it. This single glowing pendant became as iconic as the SilverHawks' wings. Fact 5. The Copper Kid is from the planet of the Mimes. The Copper Kid isn't just the team's youngest member, he's an alien from the planet of the Mimes who communicates through whistles and computerized tones instead of speaking normally. He's also a mathematical genius who pilots the Mirage when needed. This bizarre origin made Copper Kid instantly memorable. Kids loved trying to mimic his whistle language, and his outsider status gave him a unique perspective on the team. He was the kid brother figure who still contributed in big ways. His copper-colored armor and disc weapons set him apart from the silver-armored main team. Copper Kid represented hope. Even the weirdest kid from the strangest planet could become a galactic hero.
Fact 6. Steelheart and Steelwill are telepathic twins. Steelheart and Steelwill aren't just brother and sister, they're fraternal twins who share a psychic bond. When one feels pain or emotion, the other senses it instantly, no matter the distance. Steelheart is the team's medic and technician. Steelwill is the muscle. This twin connection created dramatic moments. Steelheart sensing her brother in danger light years away, or Steelwill knowing exactly when his sister needed backup. It added emotional depth to what could have been generic team members. Their gold and silver color schemes and matching wing designs made them visually striking. The psychic twin gimmick was pure 80s sci-fi cheese, but it worked perfectly for a show about cyborg space cops. Fact 7. The mob had weirder villains than most shows. Mon Star's criminal mob wasn't your typical goons. Mumbo Jumbo was a bull-headed minotaur strongman. Pokerface was a robotic card shark. Melodia used hypnotic music weapons. Hardware built insane machines. Zero, the memory thief, stole knowledge from brains. These weren't generic henchmen. Each had a unique gimmick. This variety made every mob encounter visually exciting. Kids could look forward to seeing which freakish villain would show up next, and each one inspired unique toy designs. Mumbo Jumbo's brute strength, Pokerface's gambling theme, Melodia's sound attacks, they all felt distinct. The mob's diversity showed SilverHawks' ambition. This wasn't a show with one big bad and identical minions. It was a full criminal underworld with specialists, just like the SilverHawks themselves. Fact 8. No smoking or drinking in the Outlaw Bar. SilverHawks aired during the height of 80s cartoon censorship, so even the villain hideout on Planet Fence had a prominently displayed sign, "No alcohol." No smoking, no drinking, no vices. Even space criminals had to follow the rules. This was standard for the era. Broadcasters and parent groups demanded pro-social content. Cartoon bad guys could be violent and destructive, but never shown doing anything as scandalous as lighting a cigarette or ordering a beer. Modern viewers find these signs hilarious, but they were serious business in 1986. SilverHawks followed the rules perfectly, keeping the focus on laser battles and monster transformations rather than outlaw vices. Fact 9. Quicksilver's bird companion is a robot. Quicksilver doesn't just fly with wings. He has Tallyhawk, a robotic bird companion that scouts ahead, carries messages, and even transforms into a flight booster. Tallyhawk is as much a character as the SilverHawks themselves. The bird's role expanded in later episodes, sometimes getting captured by the mob or playing key roles in rescue missions. It gave Quicksilver a cool sci-fi sidekick that paralleled other Rankin-Bass animal companions, like Thundercat's Wily Cat. Tallyhawk's design cleverly bridged the cyborg theme, mechanical enough to fit the high-tech world, cute enough to appeal to kids. It was the perfect visual companion for the SilverHawks leader. Fact 10. It lasted longer than you remember, 65 episodes. SilverHawks only ran for 2 seasons, but that's 65 episodes, a solid run for syndicated 80s animation. It aired from September 1986 through 1987, with reruns keeping it alive into the early 90s for many markets.
That longevity meant it built a dedicated fan base who filled notebooks with SilverHawks drawings, collected the toys, and argued over which wing design was coolest. 65 episodes gave plenty of time for mythology to develop and characters to shine. While it never reached Thundercats-level fame, SilverHawks carved out its own niche as the cosmic companion piece. For a whole generation, Partly Metal, Partly Real became just as iconic as Thundercats' battle cry. SilverHawks was Rankin and Bass taking their winning Thundercats formula and launching it into space. Cyborg heroes, transforming birds, psychic twins, musical villains, and astronomy lessons for every episode. It was weird, ambitious, and perfectly 80s. Now it's your turn. What's your strongest SilverHawks memory? Quicksilver and Tallyhawk, Mon Star's transformations, Copper Kid's whistles, Steelheart and Steelwill's twin powers? Tell us in the comments below. If this galactic trip brought back memories, subscribe to Pure Nostalgia, hit like, and ring the bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the cartoons and toys that made the 80s and 90s legendary. SilverHawks.